The concept of the bubble, the private world, personal space, and boundaries put together. That feeling you have when all those three things are synchronized and they're active and you're comfortable. And then something comes in and bursts your bubble, meaning that same comfort that was all synchronized and you were in that zone, that's kind of just bothered now, you know what I mean? To the point where it feels like you have to kind of set it up again, whether it takes a millisecond or a minute, you know what I mean? Sometimes it could even take longer, you know? So strengthening your bubble is really good, you know what I mean? It's really important to not have your bubble burst anytime something random happens, you know? So there are ways to strengthen your bubble. First, once again, you have to know what it consists of, which I said before, which is the private world, the personal space, and your boundaries. So your boundaries might not even be personal. They might be based on convention and society, you know what I mean? So that's why I don't group it with the personal space. So yeah, you decide what boundaries you like and what boundaries make you feel like you're, more centered and more you have more strength and energy throughout the day. For example, when I go out, I'm a marathon runner and I'm quick on my feet. So I designed a system at the grocery store where I'm really good at weaving in and out of people and I move far more quickly than anyone I see at the grocery store. And people tend to smile or laugh, you know what I mean? So I'm zipping through the grocery store, I'm doing spin moves and juking and all sorts of stuff just to get my chips and stuff. And yeah, so I'm just all over the place in the grocery store and everyone loves it. I get out of there in a couple minutes and, miss the line. But yeah, so one of the things that comes with that's one of my boundaries, is I don't follow the normal path in the grocery store because I don't want to be grouped in with the pace that people are typically shopping at, including waiting in line. I get to the line at an odd point in the day. You know what I mean? People go there at noon, people go there at 1, 2, 3. So on average, how long does someone shop for? How long does it take them to get to the line? And what's the quietest point during the day to go? That's something I would consider, the odd times. But anyway, yeah, so my pace in the grocery store almost always serves as a part of my bubble because I don't really get too close to anyone. And that's the vibe I'm in the whole time. I'm not too close to anyone. And if I'm near them, it's not for a long time, And I pay for my stuff and I leave. And that's one example. Some people will only wear certain clothing outside. And, based on whatever they believe, there's a kind of comfort that comes with that, I've noticed, which is cool. And then anything having to do with seeing certain types of people in public, whether it be a family, your best friend, a good friend, a close friend, a solid friend, a semi-reliable friend, or a new friend. How do you treat those situations differently? What boundaries do you have for those relationships, or a lover, What boundaries do you set in public? What do you believe is appropriate for where you live and who you're usually around? That's a part of your bubble. And if it doesn't just work with you, you know what I mean? If someone else does something that you think is beyond boundary or is too personal in public, it might affect your bubble a little bit. So you have to be able to strengthen up for those kinds of situations. If you live in a densely populated area, you never know what you're going to get unless you guys really have a high vibe going on, like Colorado or something, So think about when you're outside and something happens and it kind of affects your bubble. Think about what makes your bubble stronger, you know what I mean? Build on it. But in this world we live in now, a lot more people are experiencing the burst of the bubble than the filling of the bubble like that. You don't want to stretch the bubble out. But you can fill it with joy and make it stronger, you know what I mean? You can do that. And that's part of meditation, is you channel whatever energy you want to embody. And the longer you channel it for, the more it affects your vibe. And the more it affects your vibe, the stronger it gets. And it compounds, and then that's what you leave the house with, that vibe, and people can feel it, You've felt some really positive people in your life. I know you have. So yeah, we now looked at our boundary section of our bubble. The other section is personal space. And that's self-explanatory. Whenever someone gets either too close to your body or is looking to know something about your life that's too personal, it's too close to your feelings, like your deep feelings, or any of your feelings, you know, regardless of what information you're portraying, you know, whether it's, you know, like I said before, a new friend or an old friend, and what you guys usually base your relationship on, you know. So, personal space, and then your private world, which is just you and any extension you have to someone in your life who's in privacy with you, you know what I mean? Anyone who's in privacy with you is a part of the private world with you. And then for me, there's parts of self that I'm just alone, you know what I mean? And that's my private world beyond anything. And I didn't really ever think about it like that, but yeah, that's what it is. Yeah, so private space, personal space, boundaries. What type of boundaries do you have set? How do you enforce them consciously? Are you connected to them with your feelings? You know what I mean? Connect to your boundary system with your feelings. Don't just connect to it with your mind. Tell your whole self, this is my boundary system and I need to start honoring it so I can improve the quality of my life. So your new boundary system. And I am proof that you can set a new boundary and then you can say to your body, mind, and soul, this is now in effect and I want to feel it on every level, even if it just means I have this little reconsideration and a small jolt in my heart when something is triggered and I'm pulling up that boundary for the first time. You know what I mean? It feels great to have that feeling of safety and security in that moment, emotionally or otherwise. So there you go. Activate those boundaries, activate that personal space rules, those personal space rules, activate that private space, you know what I mean? Go ahead and love your life. And once you get really good with your boundaries, everything else becomes a lot easier. Love you.